The 2022 Buffalo Bills schedule has been released, and today I'm going to be doing my full 2022 season predictions for your Buffalo Bills. Let's get right into Week 1 versus the Los Angeles Rams. Now, this is going to be a tough matchup. Obviously, we are playing the Super Bowl champions. They just won it all with our new linebacker, edge rusher, Von Miller. The last time we played these guys was in 2020 with the no fans. We beat them 35-32. And it was a close game. We had a 28-3 lead. We blew the lead and then won the game. However, this is 2 years ago. It's a new season, a new team, and a new time. Unfortunately, I do think the Bills will lose this game just because of the hype, the adrenaline for Los Angeles. I think they're going to thrive off that. I think with the new offensive coordinator in Buffalo, with Dable leaving to the Giants, becoming their head coach, I do think the Bills will not come out slow or not play to their potential or play like they should, but I do think they will lose this game. Now, if I had to pick a score for this game, I would have to say it's going to be 31-28 LA. And now in Week 2, the Titans are coming to town for Monday Night Football, and we know how the game went last year. It was, oh boy, the fourth down, can't convert. I'm not going to say they have revenge on their mind, but Josh especially will definitely be thinking about that. Now, I do think with how the Titans offseason has went, they traded A.J. Brown, they drafted a quarterback in the third round. There could be a little turmoil for Ryan Tannehill to start the season, and I think that'll show against the Bills' top pass defense, and I think the Bills will win this one handedly. I think they win by 2 scores, at least. So now that leaves us at 1-1. And in Week 3, the Bills are headed to Miami to take on the Dolphins, Tua and Tyreek, the new duo. As a football fan, I'm excited to see how Tyreek Hill does in this Dolphins offense with the new head coach, Mike McDaniels, and Tua, another year of development. Keep in mind, Tua hasn't started that many games. He's been injured for a lot of his career, and he still has a winning record. But we have to keep in mind that Miami is still a good team. They were 1 game out of the playoffs, I believe, last year. So they're not a team to be messed with, but I do think the Bills take care of this one and move to 2-1. Now, Week 4, we have Bills at Ravens. And last year, the Ravens had a lot of injuries. They were 8-3 before they lost Lamar, and then they finished 4th in their division, I believe. Let's get straight to the point. The Ravens are a good team when healthy. They're going to get their corners back. All their running backs are going to be back. Lamar's back. They're not going to be a team to take lightly. They're going to be good. However, I do think with how the Bills have performed against this run-heavy Ravens team in the past, I do think they take this one in a close game and move to 3-1. And now, Week 5, where Mitch Trubisky returns to Buffalo. Who knows if he'll even be starting, let's be honest, because they drafted Kenny Pickett in the first round, who was the only quarterback taken for... Mike Tomlin is a good coach. However, I don't think this Steelers team is going to be as good, especially if they start to flunk out early with Trubisky as the starter. They're going to end up switching to Pickett, and I don't know how he's going to do in his first NFL season. With that being said, I do think the Bills take care of this one handedly, win by a couple scores, and move on to 4-1. Now, Week 6, the Chiefs. Revenge is on their mind, whether they like it or not, whatever they say. They know how that game ended. My heart still aches. I remember jumping up in excitement as they took the lead with 1:29 or whatever it was, and then when they got scored on, and then when they scored again, and then they got scored, and it breaks my heart. They did lose Tyreek Hill in the offseason, but they did replace him with some good pieces. I like Juju and KC. I think he's going to be a very good receiver there. He was always under AB's shadow those first 2 years, and people said, oh, he can't produce without AB. I'm excited to see what Andy Reid does with him in this offense, minus Tyreek Hill, but you have to keep in mind, they still have Kelsey, who is more than likely going to garner a lot of cornerback 1 attention now with Hill gone. With that being said, revenge on their minds. I do think the Bills are the better team. Even though the Chiefs have added some nice pieces, I do believe the Bills take this one in a close game, closer than last year's regular season game. I don't think Mahomes is going to be as bad as he was. Mahomes is that dude. Whether we like it or not, Mahomes is that guy. And I do think the Bills will win this game and move to 5-1. And as the Bills come off their Week 7 bye, they take on Rodgers and the Packers, who did trade away Devontae Adams in the offseason for a first and second round pick, which they then used on some players. That's what you do with draft picks. I did like the Packers offseason a bit. However, I don't even think they're the best team in their division. I do think the Vikings are better and will be better with their new head coach. You know, Kirk Cousins and all that, but it's not the point. We're talking about the Packers. I still think the Packers are a good team. I still think they're a playoff team, which you'll see in another video later. However, I do think the Bills will take this one in another close game and move to 6-1. Next week is the Jets. We're going to beat the Jets. Like, do we even need to talk about this? In week 10, we are taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Now, like I just said previously, I think they're going to be the best team in the NFC North. I do think with their new head coach, I think they're going to be very good, even better than they were last year. And I know last year they didn't make the playoffs, but I think there's room for improvement there with getting a healthier new head coach. Kirk Cousins is criminally underrated, and I will die on that hill. No matter how many primetime games he can't win, all right? We know he chokes in primetime, he chokes under the lights. It doesn't matter. I still think Justin Jefferson is that dude. He might be the best receiver in the league after this year. You could make that argument. Dalvin Cook is back. It'll be a James versus Dalvin rivalry in this game. And I do think the Bills will take it and add another win to the win column. Next up, we have the Browns, who obviously traded for Deshaun Watson this offseason. Still haven't resolved their issue with Baker Mayfield, and I do believe they're going to hang on to him just because they don't know what's going to happen with Watson's suspension, obviously. And even if he stays and they don't trade him, there's no shot this man suits up for the Browns ever again. He's going to get released. He's going to force his way out of town. There is no reason for him to give any more to an organization where he has already, he's their best quarterback since Deshaun Watson probably. And obviously we don't know who's going to be the quarterback for the Browns yet. We don't know if Watson's going to be suspended for how many games, if any games. We don't know if Baker's going to play. We don't know if Baker's going to get released, traded. I made these predictions with Deshaun Watson playing all 17 games. The Browns still have that duo of Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. And I did trade for Amari Cooper, who's going to be really good for them with Deshaun Watson. Again, if he plays, but in this hypothetical scenario, he is. I don't know how the Browns will do this year with the noise around Deshaun Watson. They're in a really tough division, like probably the best division with the best quarterbacks in football. So I'm going to say the Bills win this game and move to 9-1. And next up we have the Thanksgiving game, 12:30. The Bills will be taking on the Lions in Detroit. Now, I'm a big fan of Dan Campbell. I love his attitude. I think he's the Sean McDermott of Detroit. I do think he's going to change that culture and finally get Detroit out of that hellhole of poverty that they have been for their entire existence. Again, Detroit's not going to be a very good team this year. Once again, they still don't have a quarterback. Jared Goff is not that guy, even though he did go to a Super Bowl, but he got carried by Sean McVay. I do think the Bills will demolish this Lions team, who are young, they're upcoming, and I do think, given a couple more years, the Lions are going to be competitive. Next up, we have the big bad Patriots, who weren't so big and bad last year when the Bills kicked their ass in the playoffs. 7 drives, 7 touchdowns. What's better than that? We beat them so bad the last time we played them that we put in our backups to rest the starters for the next game. That's just insane. I do think Mac Jones has gotten better. I don't know what the Patriots have really done to help him though. Like, obviously Bill Belichick is the greatest coach of all time, but he is also the worst GM of all time. His drafting has never really been that good. Their wide receiver room isn't that talented. They've got some guys, some B, C tier guys, but I don't think they have that guy which a young quarterback needs to take his game to the next level, i.e. Diggs to Josh Allen, Tyreek Hill to Tua Tagovailoa. You know, these guys need somebody, especially the raw guys like Mac Jones, that need someone to help elevate their game, and I don't think the Patriots have added that. And I do think New England will struggle this season because of those choices that they made to not actively help Mac Jones get better. Which means, obviously, I am chalking up the Bills for another win. I don't necessarily think this will be a blowout because division games always tend to be close. Even though, like, in the past couple of years, the Bills have kind of cakewalked their division, I do think this game will be close, closer than people think. And I do think the Bills will win and add another win to that win column. Week 14, we are playing the New Jersey Jets. And I said this the last time. It's the Jets. We're not. It's a free win. Playing the Jets is a free win. No way you put it. With the if the Bills lose this game, I mean they did lose to the Jaguars last year, but hey, Urban Meyer's a great coach. You can't take that away from him. Next up, we have the Dolphins, who I am higher on than others. I do think they are a good team, like I have said. I just think the Bills are the best team in the NFL. They have the best depth, the best roster. Now, whether that translates to the playoffs, we're not sure. We don't know. However, I really like what Miami is doing. I do think they're going to be competitive for a long time. Whether it's Tua Tagovailoa, Tom Brady, a guy they draft in 2023 after they move on from Tua, who knows? But I do think what Miami is building is a winning team for many years to come to compete with the Bills. But however, with that being said, I do think the Bills will sweep the Dolphins this year. They're going to win this game in a close one, and the Bills will be moving on to 13-1 with this win over Miami. Next up, we have the Chicago Bears, who honestly, I don't know how popular of an opinion this is, but I do think the Chicago Bears will be one of the worst teams in the NFL. I think Justin Fields is very talented. However, I don't know if he'll be able to put it together. I was never really high on him before the draft last year anyways. And I do think what Chicago has done, you know, they got a new head coach, but what the hell are they doing to help this guy? Not giving him any receivers. He's got no O-line. His defense kind of stinks. They just traded Khalil Mack. What do they have to help him succeed? I don't think they have it. And I think the Bills will end up blowing them out in a huge blowout win. And next up, we have the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati on Monday Night Football. Now, last season, the Bengals did make the Super Bowl with Joe Burrow in his second season, which is just phenomenal. Jamar Chase is an absolute stud. Joe Mixon is always running wild. They have two other good receivers in T. Higgins. I forget the other guy's name. Hold on. Tyler Boyd, one of, if not the best wide receiver trio in the NFL. But the Bills obviously have the defense to match with Poyer, Hyde, Elam, and Trey White, who will be back at this time. Obviously, we know the Bengals did what the Bills could not last year in the playoffs, which was beat the Chiefs in overtime. Yeah, that still hurts. But I do think, like I said, the Bills are just loaded, and I'm trying to keep bias out of this as much as I can, but I do think the Bills will win this one. Another close game. All these games aren't going to be high-scoring blowouts. Some of them will be tight defensive battles. I do think this will be one of those high-octane offense games, shootout, if you will, and I do think the Bills will come out on top and move to 15-1. And this is the last game of the season. The Patriots take on the Bills in Buffalo in Week 18, and at this point, and with my season predictions, the standings have been decided, and I do think the Bills will be resting their starters as they have clinched the 1 seed, and they will lose this game to New England, who is fighting for a playoff spot. They're just going to take it easy, vanilla game plan. They're going to be preparing for the playoffs, resting their guys, and I do think New England will steal this game. It's also hard to sweep your division, so I wanted to give away one game, and I knew I could confidently give that to New England. It's very hard to go 6-0 in your division, even though the Bills did it in 2020. That's also with no fans, and then they went 5-1 last year, as I have them going this year. Now, with that being said, the final record for your Buffalo Bills is 15-2. Clinching up the 1 seed, I think Josh Allen is going to have another phenomenal year. The growth this guy has had from 1 year to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next year, it's just been insane, and I'm so glad we have Josh Allen. Any game that we have Josh Allen in, I am confident that the Bills can win. I wouldn't be surprised if they went 17-0, 20-0, and won the Super Bowl. Like, we know the Bills are good. It's just a matter of putting it all together. Is this the year they finally do it? It's going to be an exciting year here in Buffalo. And that's going to be it for this video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed. I'm going to have Bills videos, obviously, because I'm a huge Bills fan. I'm going to have crazy NFL videos, NFL commentary content, NFL highlights and montages and hype montages. You name it, we've got it. If you want to see some of that, subscribe. And that's all I got for you guys today. Peace out.